Yeah, Jim, what are your thoughts about that and the idea that she's making these observations and that I've always got fascinated when I investigated homicide cases that when you go to the spouse, if it's a domestic homicide, the spouse feels obligated to speak because it would be peculiar on a missing persons case that the spouse wouldn't speak. Yet they often contradict themselves based upon the physical evidence that these, if you're smart as a detective or as a prosecutor, that you're noting that are inconsistent with the statement. What do you think about that?
Well, sure. And here you have a situation where, of course, he's not going to take the fifth as soon as his wife has disappeared. It doesn't make sense. But the inconsistencies are pretty glaring. I mean, we have, first off, here the bed. Says he was sleeping in the bed. Well, the bed is untouched. So he's lying about that. If his wife had been sleeping in the bed, there'd be some indication that had happened. And then he goes on to say that what he first did was search for her. Well, I don't think it's been established through this witness, but there's he said that he searched at a gas station. Well, they have video at that gas station. He wasn't there. He said he called her several times. Phone records don't bear that out. So it's very dangerous for a person when somebody comes up missing to speak with the police. And if you're going to speak with the police, make sure you're telling the truth. The fact that he's lying about it from the get-go does have some indication of guilt here. And to Bernard's point, maybe it should have been a crime scene right away instead of just a missing persons report so that forensic evidence could have been taken in a timely fashion.
You know, I was just going to comment on that, Bernarda. Maybe I was just a little bit more cautious about this. If I couldn't prove that it was a missing person, and if there was an unattended death, and there wasn't a very good explanation, I opened it up as a crime scene just to make sure that we had it processed correctly, because there was processing of this house that occurred years afterwards. Because even though he had strange and squirrely statements, even though it didn't make sense that all of her stuff was there, I mean, processing a crime scene 2 years later, not to mention the statements that he's given that implicated himself, is really not the best practices in terms of an investigation, don't you think?